What better way to start off this YouTube channel than to introduce you to one of the best books you could possibly buy. Bob Parris's Beyond Built is a masterpiece. It really goes into every single factor of building an aesthetic physique. And who better than Bob Parris? He developed one of the most aesthetic and proportionate and symmetrical physiques of all time. No part was bigger than the other, nothing detracted from the rest of his physique. He also took into account meticulous grooming, posing and presentation. Every single factor was taken into account. No stone was left unturned to create one of the greatest bodybuilding physiques of all time. This book will guide you through how he did it, and I just thought I'd click through it very quickly just so you can get an idea of what's in the book. Obviously, I encourage you to purchase it, but you can get a basic idea of what it's all about here. Some fantastic photos in here as well. Takes you through his tricep routines. He definitely never neglected his calves. He's got some of the best calves I've seen as well. The all-important abdominals, and he provides you with some routines for that as well. So you can see here now he's got a chapter on increasing the intensity, which is what you have to do to make it to the next step. All about the different methods you can use to annihilate your muscles in the gym. Cheating reps, circuit training, balance, variety and feel. The journal. Now, this is an interesting one. My dad kept a bodybuilding journal throughout his many years of bodybuilding. Kept every single one of them. When he passed away, I read through them all, and I learned a lot just from his notes. In the same way, Bob Parris was a big believer in keeping a meticulous journal, writing down every workout, every rep, every set, just like Dorian Yates and Zane and others did. So you can tell he was a real cerebral bodybuilder, a real thinking man's bodybuilder. Rib cage expansion program. Now, this is an interesting one. Bob Parris had a fantastic vacuum, and he, along with Zane, John Defenders, Haney and others, didn't believe, he knew that you can expand the rib cage through regular pullovers and vacuum training and so on. When I first started bodybuilding, I had a sunken chest that a pirate would be proud of. But through employing the same sort of techniques that Bob Parris talks about in this book, I managed to bring my rib cage up to where it possibly became a strength, which is, I didn't think that was at all possible. But you do have to start young for it to make any major difference. So you can see here he's moved on to his tricep exercises and bicep exercises. Great photo there. He never neglected his forearms. The neck, forearms and calves are vital to a truly aesthetic classic physique. The abdominals, muscling up the midsection. If you haven't got abs, in my opinion, it's very hard to be classic. The abs really are the showpiece of the physique. Yet nowadays you hardly see any videos or anything actually outlining how to train the abs. That photo we just saw, by the way, that's iconic, isn't it? Him standing in between those trees. Here's what to do if you haven't got a gym and you've just got a training partner. Don't know if I'd try these down the beach. But look, if it works, it works. In my opinion, if you're down the beach or you haven't got a gym or anything like that, push-ups, dips, pull-ups, standing calf raises, one-legged pistol squats and so on are enough to maintain your physique until you can get into the gym or until you've got a job, etc. So some of these movements he's doing here with his then partner would definitely work, like the sissy squat and so on. Donkey calf raise, now that one's a super exercise for the calves. One you don't see very much of anymore. You do get some funny looks in the gym. I usually save that for home workouts. Optimum nutrition. Now, nutrition is a massive part of bodybuilding. If you haven't got your nutrition nailed, then you really are training with one arm behind your back. So he really does go into that, not overloading the stomach so it's constantly flat. You can tell just from his skin tone and his overall healthy look that he paid a lot of attention to what he was putting into his body. Steroids. Now he has some very interesting views about steroids, so much so that he quit bodybuilding because he hated taking them. He hated what they did to him and the side effects. Have a look at Gorilla Suit, which is his autobiography, if you want to know more about that. Personal care, the missing ingredient. Now, this is interesting. A lot of the bodybuilders actually did really look after their skin. Arnold and others, they all moisturised before going into the sun. They took particular care of their hair and their skin. You'll notice the difference between the skin of the golden age bodybuilders and the bodybuilders of nowadays. Quite recently, I saw a picture of Nick Walker's skin, and it was pockmarked, acne-ridden, covered in veins and weird lumps. And his skin really is crying out to him to stop whatever he's doing to himself. I really hope he does before he becomes unwell. Bob's even got a chapter about fashion here. And then the pre-contest training and how he changes things up just before a competition. That made for interesting reading. Again, I encourage you to actually purchase this book yourself. I haven't put this on here for the intent of people not having to buy it. It really is worth purchasing online if you can, or some other way. I encourage you to support these bodybuilders with their books that I'm showcasing. Pretty soon I'll be showcasing some of Robert Kennedy's fantastic books. They really taught me everything I needed to know as a teenager, along with what my dad taught me. So stay tuned, and I'll be posting some of those as well. Here he goes into how to perform a classic style series of poses, how to do them properly. And you do well to copy the example of Bob Paris when doing all these poses. You can see there his relaxed position is very different to the Harley Rider's handlebar pose that I saw in the recent 2022 Classic Olympia. I really didn't like how they were standing with their arms out like that. Detracts from the overall flow of the physique and is definitely not classic. Some great old school physiques there. And there he's been declared the winner. And he finishes off with some very interesting question and answers at the back. And I found that quite informative as well. So overall, I give this book, what do I give it? A 9.5 out of 10. It's an absolute must read for anybody who is more interested in being the aesthetic, artistic type of bodybuilder, rather than just a lump of mass. So if you're a more cerebral and thinking man's bodybuilder, this is the book for you. And he wraps things up with a list of his favourites, which I found quite interesting as well.